keep an eye out next week because the official trailer for The Hunt for August Red should be premiering. It's crazy. We're at the end. We have 2 premiere dates set up, and yeah, I just can't wait to share more with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Super proud of everybody, and how dare me promote my fucking film on this video. Now, today we're going to be talking about the Trinity of Trash, or the Trilogy of Trash, the Trash Trilogy. I'm just going to call it the Trash Trilogy because I've heard it be called different things. And I wanted to talk about John Waters, but, you know, without talking about each individual film in one video, I just wanted to do a video with, you know, arguably the most important chunk of his filmography. And also, it's like the most low-budget chunk of his filmography, except minus Multiple Maniacs. And I won't be talking about Polyester because this is the Trilogy of Trash. The Trilogy of Trash consisted of 3 films, and he, you know, collaborated with a lot of the same actors in these films, and that is Pink Flamingos, Female Trouble, and Desperate Living. And John Waters was known to work with Edith Massey, David Lowery, and Mink Stole. I mean, you know, he worked with them a lot. And of course, Divine. Except Desperate Living did not have Divine in it. And I do want to talk about that a little bit and sort of how it affected my viewing of the film, especially because everything that I've watched from John Waters has had, like, basically all of them in it, except I don't think David Lowery, I hope I'm saying his last name right, was in Desperate Living. He wasn't, I'm pretty sure. And it's also kind of sad to know that a lot of them did pass away, I believe in the 80s. I know David Lowery passed away in the late 70s, I think 77, 78. And yeah, it's crazy to think that, you know, John Waters is basically, you know, the only one left. I think Mink Stole is as well. But, you know, a lot of the actors that are in these films, I think that's what gives this type of film a lot of charm, because, and I guess I can actually bring up some examples as well. But yeah, it's so nice to see sort of his progression and him working with, you know, smaller budgets moving up, you know, because some filmmakers have to do that. And it's very inspiring in a way because, you know, there's some filmmakers that'll make a film for a couple of thousand and then their next film will be like a couple of million. But in John Waters' case, and also, you know, a couple other filmmakers' case, they start with like a couple of thousand, then a couple more thousand, then a couple more thousand. And it's interesting to see how he progressed that way with his stories. And I don't want to say, in my opinion, he got better with each film. I mean, he did get better, you know, with his filmmaking techniques and, you know, just the overall look and production of his films. But the first film that we're going to talk about, Pink Flamingos, is by far my favorite John Waters film that I've seen so far. It's hard to top because of how grotesque the film is. This film is shocking. There's some things that I probably can't even say in this video without it getting removed. Yes, it is that shocking. I would even say that this film, in a way, was more shocking than Solo. Yeah. Now, this film was basically Divine. She plays... What is her character's name in this? Whatever. All you need to know is that Divine's character is trying to be the filthiest, you know, person in the world. And there's also another group of characters that are trying to be the filthiest the filthiest people in the world. And then it all goes to shit. I mean, literally. Like, I'm not exaggerating. And there's so many things in this film that you just don't expect. Like, I literally was screaming through some of it because I was watching it and I was like, holy shit. Like, they actually did that. There was one scene in particular, and it's probably not the one that you guys are thinking of because I'm not talking about the ending film, the ending of the film where Divine does a certain thing. I'm talking about the scene after they, like, get done licking all the furniture. I was like, there's no way they're going to show it. And then they did, and I was like, whoa, what? But I admire this film a lot because this film is risky. It is risque. Like, this film, literally, I don't even know how it got distribution. I still don't know how it gets distribution, but I'm glad it does because this film is impressive. And it's impressive not because of the filmmaking, not because of the acting. John Waters does have this tendency to sort of hold on one shot for, like, basically the whole scene. And to where it feels sort of like a stage play. And I feel like for John Waters, that kind of works. You know, like I just feel like it kind of does his directorial style justice. So, I mean, it works for me. But Pink Flamingos, I would watch this one sort of last. If you're going to watch the Trilogy of Trash, I would watch this one last because this one is really like the most extreme one. And then he worked with Divine again with Female Trouble, which had most of the same cast from Pink Flamingos. Now, at this point, he's done Desperate Living, he's done Pink Flamingos, and he's done Female Trouble. So he's worked with Divine, more than 4 times, because, you know, I'm also missing his first feature in this, which I have not seen. The earliest film that I have seen from him is Multiple Maniacs, which I actually enjoyed. But then you have Female Trouble, which was the follow-up to Pink Flamingos. Now, in my opinion, this does not live up to Pink Flamingos. I had a really hard time with this film. The beginning of it was good. The middle of it, it just, I don't know, it was kind of a slog. And then the ending of this film, like the last part, the last third, I actually thought was really good. In a weird way, maybe a little bit charming. But it's always nice to see Divine and John Waters work together, because I really do feel like the two bounce off each other really well. It's really hard to imagine a John Waters film without Divine, but I guess that's where Desperate Living is going to come in at. I love the whole... it really is just everything about John Waters' films is basically grotesque. And that's what he's going for. I mean, there's a lot of gross scenes and segments in John Waters' films that are in this. Now, like I said, this film is like nowhere near as gross as Pink Flamingos, okay? Like nowhere near as gross. Not even close. But at the same time, this film, compared to other films, is pretty gnarly and pretty nasty. So, you know, and I think that also has a lot to do with Divine's character, because she goes through a lot of shit in this film. Well, no, I'm not going to say literally, because it's not like Pink Flamingos, but there's just one scene with like her face, and it's crazy. I mean, I'm not trying to say the effects were really, really good. I'm not saying they're really, really bad, but it did look kind of grody. And the final film in the trilogy of trash is Desperate Living. And this film was actually the first film I think John Waters worked on to not star Divine. But I often wonder if the person, I forget what her name is, but I was often wondering if Divine was supposed to play her role, or if she was supposed to play the maid's role in the film, because I feel like this film had Divine written all over it, you know? I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking that way because Divine was not in the film, but this film feels like it needed to have Divine in it. I don't know why Divine wasn't in this film. I guess at the time she was working on I don't know, like a stage play or something like that. But yeah, still, Desperate Living, I enjoyed the first half of it, and the last half, I'm not gonna lie, I was not a fan of. I loved, like, because when I looked at the budget for this, it was like $65,000, which was basically like 6 times the budget of Pink Flamingos, and basically like 3 times the budget, I think, of Female Trouble. So, I mean, it had a bigger budget behind it, but I wonder if that bigger budget was mainly just to pay the actors a little bit more, because they really did keep this film simplistic, you know, and I could tell definitely where, well, no, I'm not going to say that, because I could see where they actually built sets, because they basically built a trash town. But yeah, and I actually liked that part of it, but I was a really big fan of the beginning of the film, the atmosphere, and to see the crazy lady and the maid, you know, sort of their little dynamic duo. I'm a sucker for dynamic duos, but it was really cool to see them sort of interact and bounce off each other. But I really do feel like one of the biggest throw-offs of this film was not having Divine in it, because Divine is a treat, and I love seeing Divine in films. But if I had to rank, I'm just going to do a quick ranking of the trilogy of trash. Like, if I had to rank them, I would go Pink Flamingos, my favorite, and then I would do Female Trouble. No, I'm going to go Desperate Living. So Pink Flamingos, Desperate Living, just because I really enjoyed the first half of Desperate Living, and then Female Trouble. They're all good in their own way. Like I said, they're really low-budget films, and I mean, like, I definitely know how it is to work with a low budget. I mean, The Hunt for August Red was basically shot off like $3,000, but I still think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with it. How dare me fucking promote my... But still, it's very impressive what John Waters was able to do. I'm so glad his filmmaking career was able to pop off the way that I'm pretty sure he wanted it to. I saw in an interview that he really didn't have anything to be bitter about, because he got to do what he wanted to do. And I'm excited to watch more of his films. I'm also really excited to watch Serial Mom. So I don't know if I'll make another video specifically just talking about John Waters, but definitely keep an eye out for films that I watched, you know, throughout the month, because, you know, I like to just go back and sort of have a retrospective of what I've watched throughout the month, and maybe John Waters might pop up in there. I know I'll be elaborating more on Multiple Maniacs and Polyester probably at the end of this month. But yeah, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. I don't know if my note video will be up before or after this. We'll have to see. But anyway, let me know what your favorite trilogy of trash film is. What your favorite John Waters film. Hope you're staying safe out there, and I'll see you guys next time.